In the previous episodes, we saw our hero, Hirako, after he was resurrected in the form of a farmer with miraculous abilities. He discovered this forest and started working in it, investing in it, planting fruits and reaping fruits. Then after that he met this girl who was a vampire and has already sucked his blood in order to regain her youth again. Let's continue the rest of the story to see what obstacles this hero will face. This episode begins with Hirako waking up in the morning with the vampire Ro. He says Ru, who lives with him here, has helped in all kinds of ways, as she used her power and was able to light the huts in which they lived. And she is the one who guided him to the presence of food salt when she ate with him one day and found her food without salt. Ru asks him what they are going to do today, and he replies that he was planning to check how fruit trees grow. And they go together to the trees and drink herbs, and Hirako speaks that trees take more time to grow than normal planting, and that he tried to grow oranges and peaches and next time he will plant chestnuts. Hirako says that the herbal tea that Ru makes is very good, but he wants to drink green tea. At that time, they feel that someone is asking for help, so they go quickly to find this girl named Tia tied with ropes and screaming loudly because she is afraid of Hirako's dogs. Hirako unties her and she thanks him very much because she was so scared and then uses her magic and heals her wounds. And when Ru sees her running away from her, Tia gets angry because she was looking for her. And when Tia calmed down, she asked Ru why she is chasing Ro, and she tells him that he has done a lot of damage in the city, so she is chasing her because there is a great reward. Ru told them that she did this because there was a man who forced her to make his medicines for his family. I needed to teach them a little lesson. Tia told her this was no small lesson. You were looking into strange drugs and concoctions, and then as soon as something bothered me she started blowing everything up.
ずいぶん優しい味よね。掘ってて気づかなかった？あ、これ新しく植えたの？もう！して私はティア。
その天使族の君がどうして？
気に入らないことがあると。ここに来たのはティアから逃げるためだったの。
Ru told her to stop because she hadn't done this thing many times. It was just an accident. Regretted having done this thing. Tia asks if she would like to live with them in this small village or not. Tia agrees and Ro takes her to show her the fields of crops and the things they have made. She shows her the orchard with many different kinds of fruits. She tells her that they are about to harvest the crops and asks her to come with them. Tia is fascinated by all these crops and asks Hirako if he planted all this. Ro replied that she helped him with a few of them, and she said to her, "Do you mean that I will also do agriculture? An angel like me should not get her hands dirty in these works." But Ro does not listen to her and takes her, and they harvest the cabbage plant. And then Tia tastes it and finds it very tasty and the fresh vegetables taste very good. So Hirako told her that the one she planted herself was better. At the end of the day they finish harvesting the plants, and when Tia tastes the strawberries she likes it very much. And when Ru sees her, she is so happy, and asks her to come live with them forever, because she cannot live alone in this forest. And the next day they do the rest of their work and can do a lot of things. When they return to their hut, Tia asks Hirako to plant bell peppers from the strawberry crop. He tells her that he wishes he could, but if they expand the crop fields, they won't be able to keep up with all the harvest, because they are now working as hard as they can. She told them they needed to use more help here. On their way, they find these little dogs, and Hirako learns that his dogs had more of them, and he wanted to name them, but after that he could not tell them apart, because the dog family has become very large. And Hirako wants to build a house for them that is bigger than their hut, because it has become too small for them. He decided to build an area for dogs next to the orchard. Indeed, he did so, and the dogs lived in this place, and they were very happy. Hirako talks about Zaptun and his children and says that some of his children ride the wind and start a new journey. I think they all leave. I was planning to turn the orchard into their new home. He looks and finds the spider and his other children and says some of them still stay with us. And Tia talks to him and tells him I'm going out for a while, too. Hirako wonders and tells her you are going to a place and you left us too? She told him, no, I will not be gone for a long time. Tia goes and Hirako says I wonder what you will do. Hirako says after a few days Tia came back as Rose said she would. She brought a group of girls with her. Hirako asks this girl, are you fairies? We are big fairies, she said, but you can call us fairies if you like. And he says to himself, what is the difference? Tia tells her please introduce yourselves. Every girl knows herself. The first girl is named Leah and the second is Liv. The third is for Scott and the fourth is for Lasai. And Lily and Lida, and Kirahu tells them that you are all mine. Leah told him, do you mean our names? We have similar names because we are all related. We came here after Tia suggested we all move here. Please let us live here with you. We see Hirako surprised and Tia tells him the truth is that they all share a very sad, dramatic story. They all lived in a village far in the north, but most of his people were wiped out after he dragged them into a war of evil. Their race was scattered and since then they have been wandering the land looking for a place they can settle in and bring them home. And Leah told him we were traveling through the woods and trying to pass so far with no place to settle. And we can't resettle our race. We ask you to help us. Tia says you can count on them to be excellent workers. And I beg you to help them too. Rue says I think it's a good idea. I heard that elder race elders are very talented. Rue asks the girls, you are all still young, right? Leah told her I am the oldest and I am a little over 400 years old. Liv says I'm the youngest, about 300.
たくさんの女性たちを連れて。
名前が似ているのは近親者だ。その際に一族は散り散りになったの集落で生活していたのですが、ぜひ私たちも一緒に住まわせてください。定住する場所がなければ一族
100の差がわからん。
中だと聞くし、あなたたち。
Tia tells him what do you think? Well, we have a lot of different roommates living here, he tells her. But if you all promise to agree, I won't have any problem with that. The girls thank him for helping them. And Leah says, by the way, who are the other roommates? Rue tells her this is Zabuton and dogs. But the girls conceive and faint. Tia says this is what I expected to happen. Hirako speaks and says the number of people living here has suddenly increased. So we needed to build somewhere for them all to live. He says Leah told him that the 7 of them wanted to live together. So we decided to build a big house for them. First we started with the ditch and the wooden fence. We then made their own toilet and rubbish disposal area for them. The girls are amazed at Hirako's power to cut down the tree, and she says to me that this giant, unbreakable tree was harder than steel. When it comes to building, Hirako says, they know more than I do, and they are all useful too. I even learned a lot about how wood is treated. Tree trunks fit together from them. I just followed their orders. I focused on digging holes, leveling the ground, and collecting wood for them. It took us 10 days. She tells me we are done. It's much nicer than our little hut, Ro said. And they enter the house. Hirako says that it is in the form of a long rectangle that extends from east to west, and after the entranceway there is the large living room that doubles as a dining room, and that it is a place to work on things together or so that they can all eat together. There are storage rooms on the left and right sides of the living room. The living room is an open plan covering the first and second floors. And the second floor rooms which are located above the storage rooms. The second floor is raw garlic. This is very bad. And Hirako talks to Leah and tells her that you use fire and also eat meat? She told him of course. He told her when I think of elves and I think of a race that lives in the woods, it is sex with nature. And he hates fire and stuff. And tell him where did you get that silly idea from? He told her am I wrong? She told him how is a person supposed to live without using fire? He told her, as you said, you are one of nature. She said to him, can you be more specific? He told her to wake up with the sunrise, and he goes to sleep when he sets the time, and eat the fruit from the trees. She loves forest trees and refuses to wear anything made of metal. She told him, please stop underestimating the cruelty of nature. And if you try to live like this in the forest, you will die instantly. And by the way, thanks for letting us all live here. And we'd plan to do some mining and blacksmithing for you. He said to her in astonishment, "What? Can you do that?" She said to him, "Yes, I would like to start building a furnace that can melt iron." Hirako says, as instructed by Leah, they quickly assembled a blacksmith's workstation. They put coal and iron sand taken from the river in the earthen kiln and heat it. Then they hammer the molten iron to process it. She tells him, "You can really do everything right?" She told him, "Well, this tends to happen. We have spent the better part of 200 years wandering around without a home." Hirako says, "I am really happy that you came to live here." And she tells him, "Lev, I would like to bake some bread." He said to her, "Bread, please go ahead." "And what is with you?" She tells him that he makes the bread rise when he bakes. Now that we are able to bake bread, Hirako says, he is eating. "I would like to expand the wheat fields." Hirako asks Ro, "Do these lands belong to anyone?" She said to him, "Do you mean such a forest?" He told her yes. Ro said, "I don't think anyone owns part of this land or anything. But I think from a technical point of view, it is a transformation of the Demon King's control." He told him, "The Demon King? This is scary. Do you think he would have a problem with me building all these fields and things here?" She told him, "That's all you're worried about? Did you receive any kind of support when you started building all this?" He told her, "Not at all." She told him, "Then there is nothing to worry about. If you build this yourself, the land belongs to you." He told her, "I think that's the way it works." Leah says, "Hirako, this is very strange and it surprised me a lot at first." Tia says he tamed all those wolves. And a demonic spider, too. Leah says, "Is the soil really good enough to grow things like this?" Ru said, "Who knows, I never asked him. I'm sure he has a very green thumb. It is surprising how much he lacks knowledge of the world around him." Leah said, "I know what you're saying." He was saying he believed elves were the race that didn't use fire or eat meat. Ru says, surprised, "Are you serious?" Tia says he doesn't seem to know what angels are either. This goes beyond a few steps simply because of some lack of knowledge. And we see Hirako saying, "I haven't progressed in building the waterway for a while now. And maybe I'll ask Leia and the fairies to help me. There is a lot of work to do tomorrow." The farmer, Hirako, carrying an axe and going to a coin in the farm. He talks with Zabuton, then he is surprised by a large bee brought by Zabuton the spider. "Will you eat it or will you raise a pet Hakiwan?" He was already tamed as an animal working with them on the farm. The next morning, Hirako built a beautiful house for a bee's nest near the orchard. 10 days later, the bees built a large nest inside. Bees are very organized. They are all busy taking care of their jobs. Only the queen is this big. As for the rest of the bees, they are much smaller. "I hope they will bring me a lot of honey, but I must plant a garden of many flowers." His girlfriend came to him and then she was surprised when she saw these many bees. You may have been stung before by a large bee. And in the middle of the day, Hirado made a very big tank so that water is held by it through the waterway of the river. The problem is that there is a great distance between here and the river, and that is very difficult. How will we solve this problem, my friend? Can we build a waterway of stone? Or is it very difficult to get these stones? There is a better idea. We can make it out of wood. We have a lot of wood already, she told him. But if it was a long corridor like this, water would seep through. Take the long corridor. Well, in that case, I will make it out of this. It is a substance like concrete. I think it will work. She told him which and where would she get this raw material from. Hirako replied, "We have a large mountain of dirt left over from the reservoir pits. This has already been worked on. I am sure it will work." At exactly 9 o'clock in the morning of the next day, the operation was completed. We built a water intake gate at the top of the waterfall. Then we built the foundation using dirt and then put the passage parts over it. Everyone is working hard. We are all one team. The most important thing is group spirit. This is what makes us an equal and successful team as well. Then I focused on closing the seams and strengthening the foundation. It was with ease and ease. There are also many fish. But how them all the time. And now it's time to hunt and eat. What do you think of this big fish? Hirako started preparing the fish and then gave it to his friends. But they did not eat it first, believing that these fish are from the forest of death. And I taste very bad. Then he tried it and it tasted really good. Then they ate it all and it was really delicious.
今日も始めるか。そうか。うちの巣用の小屋を作った。 火鉢は普通サイズのようだ。10日ほどで中に大きな巣が完成と。
水路作りはどこまで進んでいるわ？
ため池に
がします。
じゃああるんだが、
まずは
これでいけそうだ。
栗？こっちに。
住むようになったな。の補強に専念する。基礎の作業はエルフたちにお願いし、取水口を設置。ウサギは凶暴だけど。
魚です。食べたりして。人からそうです。作った人。おいしいです。
And then Hirako decides to try plowing with a shovel while thinking of rice plants, and indeed rice plants appear. He did not know that they could grow in this natural soil. But after he built the waterways here, he asked the girls to build a paddy field. And Hirako starts building, and one of the girls tells him that this looks like a normal field, and he told her that he did not complete the field. Then Hirako makes the water move in the field, and one of the girls asks him, "Would you put the fish here?" So he told her that he did not do that and that he needed all of their help in the next part. The girls agree and go down with him in the water, and he gives them some seedlings for them to plant. The girls were a little nervous at first, but they quickly learned that. Rice cultivation went off without a hitch, and Hirako put the children of Zabuton in front of the planting to be responsible for keeping pests out of the area. Hirako wasn't sure if it was good thanks to the water or the all-around cultivation tool. Then the rice plants grew much faster than Hirako had expected. And it was time to harvest, so the girls helped him in that, and thanks to them, it was done in the blink of an eye.
害虫対策は苗を植えていくぞ。も手伝ってもらうぞ。
何を？
じゃあ手分けして田植えは順調に進んだ。おか知っていただけだ。そう。
After they finished harvesting, Leah asked him what they were going to do next, and Hirako told her that they were going to dry it out of the moisture. And then they thresh it, and this old threshing machine appears, and Hirako teaches them how to thresh the rice, and then they put it in a sieve to get rid of any remaining leaves or plant materials. Hirako does the rest of the things needed to make the rice clean. Tia asks him if they can't eat rice if he doesn't do all this. He told her that he must do all these steps to make it ready to eat. And when he finishes all that, he settles it on the fire and tells the girls that when they settle the rice, they should put water on it and when it rises in the pot. They slow down the fire until it matures. Ro and Tia are surprised and ask Ro, "What is this spell? I have never heard of it before." Hirako asks Ro to use her magic and light a fire under the rice bowl. Ru prepares to light the fire as she feels that she has found her chance to start a big fire. But Hirako tells her that he only wants a very small fire to cook the rice. When the rice is cooked, Hirako prepares it into small balls. So the girls took it to taste it and found it very tasty, so they ate it all and told him that this rice is delicious and worth all the trouble they suffered. The next day, they work a lot in the field and Hirako asks them to stop work to rest. So the girls come out of the ground and use their magic to cleanse their bodies. When Hirako sees them, he thinks of building a bath, since he was able to build a waterway, so he will try to build a bath. Then he tells the girls about what he wants to do, which is a bathroom for them to wash their bodies in after work, and he will also make a basin and a place for them to wear their clothes. Tia said to him, "Why didn't we wash our bodies in the waters of the river?" He replied that it was very cold and they would get sick if they did that. And Hirakawa starts building the oven to heat the water in it, and then builds a large basin and also builds benches to sit on in the washing area. Then Hirako notices that if he takes water from the river, it is good. But it is not acceptable to return wastewater from the bathroom and things to the river. Tia told him that he could use the mud to clean and purify waste and dead organic matter. And it's nature's cleaning machines, aren't those weak-looking monsters very dangerous, Hirako says, and be the #1 cause of death in New Adventurers? Tia told him it's not her and I'm going to catch some of it. Indeed, Tia goes and brings slime with her and Hirako talks to the animals and says to them, "Do you eat this?" But they refuse and throw mud in the water. Hirako says he built a filtration pool for the mud in the wastewater. Tia said we will put mud in the toilet and they will clean everything for us. And Hirako is happy that the slime will help them, but I don't know if I have the courage to do my job right on top of the slime. Now I need to get some firewood and the bathroom will be all set. He sees mushrooms and says I was very afraid to eat any of the mushrooms in this forest and I don't know which ones might be poisonous. He remembers the girls eating mushrooms and they were very happy. Hirako wants to grow all the mushrooms he knows, but he's not sure if this is the right way to do it. Hirako talks to the girls and tells them I will teach you how to use the bathroom. First undress in the changing room before hitting the tub. Then you first need to rinse and wash yourself gently in the washing area. Leah says it would be very helpful to show us how this is done. And he shows them how to use it, and he tells them first to take off your clothes, then you rinse with water, then you wash yourself, and finally you enter the bathroom, and Hirako very much enjoys bathing. And we see the girls taking off their clothes and rushing to the bathroom. One of the girls says it's good to be able to relax and wash ourselves. Hirako says I will go out so you can take your time. Ru told him not to stay with us. Hirako says I should have built a separate men's bath. The next day, Hirako shows the mushrooms he made and says I might make a hot mushroom bowl tonight. And the dogs found him. They brought 5 new fairies and brought them here. And he asks Leah, do they want to live with us? She told him yes, they lived in the same village as us, and Lacey says to him, since we left, we've been living our lives as wanderers looking for a place to settle down. And it's been 200 years since our groups saw each other. Hirako is surprised and says that you have had a very difficult time and agrees that they live with them. Leah says let's start building a new house for you. Why don't we take this opportunity to make some improvements to Hirako's house as well? He told her well there are more people living in it and it's getting tight. Lacey told him we'll help you. Hirako thanks them and says this will be a great help. Leah says we will start now, and also to ensure the revival of our race let's also start having children. Hirako says, I don't know how they will have children, but it is good to see them, so optimistic. And the dog sees them and says that the number of females has increased very much in Hirako's pack, and his name will be Kuro, and before I met my master, I did not have a name to give him my name, and from the moment of my birth I spent my whole life in this forest alone. I did not lose a single battle to another male. I planned to live my whole life doing whatever I wanted. And hunt when you need food. And one day I met a female I didn't have a chance against. And we started traveling together. At some point her belly started to grow, and it wasn't long before she gave birth to our children. But one day we encountered the gladiator bear, who is the king of this forest. And I don't know if he just decided on a whim to spare us or if he was full but didn't eat us. We were so badly injured we couldn't search for food and we became very weak. And suddenly we found ourselves in the middle of the forest. In a place where even a grappling bear would not dare to walk. And what we found was a human male, and how a frail-looking person could survive here alone. And I felt boundless power coming from that tool. We thought our lives were over, but we made a contract with that person, and this person helped us a lot, and we were very confident in him and decided that he would become our master. He also gave us names as well as a house to live in. He cleans our food, and the vegetables he cooks are very delicious. It wasn't long before our children grew up and we became a big family. He also became the leader of his own large pack. Despite all these girls, he is a weak person, as I thought. My only concern is that he doesn't seem unaware that we are the terrifying beasts known as the wolves of hell. But I am so grateful to him that he led me here.
"田植えは順調に進んだってもらい、たまたま見ただけなのだ。確か
つまんないわね。あれだけの手間をかけてできた。
みんな魔法で汚れをきれいにお湯をためる浴槽を勧める。今更気づいたんだが、 冒険者の親友ナンバーワンみたいな途中にスライムの浄化プールを
懸命ね。見分け方は
体を簡単に洗ってからだ。俺だった音人連れてきた。
ラファです。再会したのは200年ぶりです。切って働きますよ。歯を増やしていきましょ
メスと出会った。にもあんな家族ができるのか。そこには人間の相手は主もいつしか主に出会えた幸運に